Hey guys, Mike here from the Unchained Teacher, and in today's video, what I want to do is talk to you about how to plan for a sub. So, whether you have never had a sub before, or whether you've tried it and things haven't gone too well, or if you just need more tips, today I want to talk about a couple things to hopefully help it go more smoothly. So, before we do that, I want to offer my free guide. It's called "The 5 Things That Great Teachers Get Right." Basically, what I've done is I've observed a lot of great teachers over the years, and these are 5 things that I've seen consistent throughout all of their teachings. And I just want to give that to you to hopefully help improve your teaching, add to your toolbox along the way, and just to give you some simple tips. So you can go ahead and download that in the description below. The other thing that I've done is I've started a Facebook group for first year teachers, or maybe teachers in their first couple of years who are just looking for some extra support, a place to ask questions, a place to share your struggles with teaching, a place to share your wins with teaching, just to have that extra support group. My goal is to just help as many teachers as possible enjoy what they do, right? Because there's a huge stat that says 50% of teachers quit within the first 5 years, and I really am looking to change that statistic with a group and support for teachers who are just starting out. So you can join that group in the description below as well, and I'd love to see you in there. But for today, planning for a substitute. Over the years, I've had some really great substitute teachers where the lessons went really well, and I've also had instances where it went really poorly and my students were awful. And so what I found is a couple things that have helped me plan for a sub, and then for the day to go smooth with the sub, as far as the students go. So the first one is to leave a schedule, emergency info, rosters, and a plan for the day. So this one's super obvious, right? But you'd be amazed how many times I've been thanked for leaving these things there. They're like, man, not everybody does that. And it kind of makes me laugh because, one, they got to know the schedule. If anything happens, it's nice if they know where to go in an emergency situation. It's nice to have rosters with your kids' names on it. And then a simple plan for the day. It doesn't have to be much, but as much detail as you can provide, it really does help them. Because if you think about it, they're walking into your classroom probably not knowing any of the kids, but being asked to teach them with no relationship. And that's a pretty tough thing to do. I used to sub, and it's not the most fun job in the world, right? So when you are leaving a plan for the day, you just want to be concise, right? And clear. So don't create this multiple page document. It should fit on a page, maybe on a second page, but something that you can give them that they can read to the students. The substitute knows what they're doing, and the students know what they're doing, right? Super quick, super simple. Even if your plans for students have a lot to do, your plan for the sub should be shorter. For number 2, always provide more tasks for students than they can do in the time given. So what I like to do is when I'm planning my lesson, I try to make it things where they're either practicing. So I teach 8th grade math, for instance, and so I try to do things where students can practice on their own, with a partner, and then with groups. So I try to break it up into chunks. So it's usually quiet for a bit. They work with their table partner, and then they can move around the room. So it works pretty nice in 10-minute increments. And then that way the sub has some, I guess, guidance, but then also providing enough material for the students, because one of the worst things is when a sub is sitting there and students are done and they're just messing around or playing games or not doing what they're supposed to. So what I like to do is usually some kind of practice problem, some kind of video where I'll videotape myself with a math lesson, or maybe an extension, or maybe some kind of online math like task or game for them to do. And then always give them extra practice problems, or extra fun like worksheets. We do a lot of math mazes, so it's kind of a competition. Maybe a Sudoku puzzle if they really get through everything. But there should be enough on there so that the students stay busy, or at least they are doing something, so the sub isn't super overwhelmed. So again, that might be a little thing. Some people just say pop a movie in and call it good, and that's fine as well. But the students should have something to do the whole time, and not to just give them busy work. But I feel what it has done for me is I don't get the report saying all these people were terrible. They were messing around the whole time. They were super disrespectful. Even if you have some kids that do some of that stuff, if they're busy, if they can work with a partner, if they can work with friends, a lot of times I've seen it's gone pretty well. The last thing is make it so the sub doesn't have to teach or work with technology. So one of my first years teaching, I had to be gone. We had planned to get away for a weekend with some friends, and so I was gone on a Friday, and I had planned to give a quiz that day, and it was all on Google Forms. And I got a text that afternoon from my teaching partner, and she had said that none of the links worked. The technology was kind of failing. And so I don't think I should have done this, but I went through and on my mini vacation kind of took an hour to fix all the links and get all the Google Forms back in place so that students could use them. And so it took away from my vacation, but then it also really stressed the sub out. It stressed my teaching partner out. So what I try to do now for sub plans is I don't involve too much technology that students haven't used before or that could break. And if it broke, they had nothing else to do, right? So this kind of goes with number 2 as well. So if you do use technology, you want to make sure there's a backup plan, even if it's just to watch a video, because sometimes subs can't get the video to work, and then students are going crazy doing whatever they want. So it's a good idea to if you're a one-to-one school, you have technology, that's great. Maybe you can do some things that students have done a lot of in the past. But if the sub has to do a lot of teaching or use technology when they're not comfortable with that, then that could go south. Now, sometimes it works great again. So these are just kind of extra things that have helped me get really good sub reports back in keeping subs wanting to keep coming back. Now, sometimes you get a great sub that, we have a sub in our building that she used to be a math teacher. So, and she actually likes to teach math when she gets to sub. So for her, I just keep the lesson going wherever I was going next. I just give her the lesson plans for that day, and she does them, and it's awesome because I come back and we're right where we should be. But that doesn't always happen, right? So we got to be considerate of that. The last kind of tip, this is the bonus tip for today, is to lay the ground rules with your students when a sub is in your room. So for this one, my kind of stance on this is that you should be more respectful to a sub than you should with me, right? Or with any of your teachers, because here's somebody that's coming into our school, coming into our culture that we've built at our school, doesn't know anybody. So we should be treating them with respect, with kindness. Does that always happen? No. But we lay those ground rules. And basically what I tell the students is if your name is written up for something negative, then that's an automatic write-up. And I tell my students that, and I tell my substitute that. Right in my sub plans, I say, hey, we're working on being respectful in our class. And so I've told them that if they're being disrespectful or their name gets written down, that they will get written up. And I say, please don't hesitate to write kids' names, but just know that that is a consequence for them. So we give them our ground rules. And I also say, if you get a really great sub report, you will get a bonus for our class, right? Or we use positive tickets with our students. So I say, if there's a positive note written, we get the whole class will get these positive tickets that you can use in our school store, and they can buy candy or little trinkets or things like that. So laying the ground rules in both the positive and the negative, what I found really, really helps them. And it just, again, you're teaching and training your students how to act when you're not there. And that's a big deal. And I've gotten bad sub reports in the past. And so these are just things that I've learned as I've failed at it, and I've gotten better at. So this isn't like something that I jumped right into. Had to learn throughout the years. So those are my 3 tips plus a bonus for you on planning for a sub. Hopefully you're able to get away. Um, it is nice to take off some time and have a sub. So you got to do that for yourselves. Just make sure you have a written plan. If anybody would like a plan, I am able to send you what I do. You can just leave a comment in the comment below, and I'll get back to you on that. But make sure, if you haven't already, download that the guide, the 5 things great teachers get right. I'd love to give that to you as a gift, as well as joining that Facebook group and getting support from other teachers like me that are just looking to give back. So I hope you guys have a great night, and we'll talk to you soon.